In today's latest Arc Raiders update, they said that they've expanded blueprint spawn locations to improve availability in areas that were underrepresented. What they didn't include is the fact that the blueprint spawn rate has increased by 500% across what I can only assume every single map condition. Now, you may have already seen a lot of posts online with people farming blueprints in Stellar Montes like crazy, but I've been testing. It seems like they drop almost anywhere, including the new cold snap condition and day raids, and I've got some really interesting information to share with you. Firstly, let's talk about the new blueprints. Yes, new blueprints. On the Stellar Montes map, you are going to see an abundance of Trailblazer blueprints, which never dropped before. Raider Remote Flare blueprints, Gas Mine blueprints, Pulse Mine blueprints, Seeker Grenade blueprints, Deadline blueprints, and lo and behold, believe it or not, Aphelion blueprints. There's also a new Fireworks blueprint, which seems to be dropping more often in the Cold Snap event. Yes, the Fireworks box. You can find a blueprint to craft this. So new blueprints have been added, and blueprint drop rate has been increased a lot. But how much has it been increased by? Well, remember how I've been tracking all of my blueprints for a long time at this point? Well, we can track the stats before the update. 3,750 containers opened with a total of 50 blueprints found. Which means before the update, the drop rate percent was 1.33%. Or thereabout. There's a margin of error there, but around 1%. Now, since the update, I've played on Stellar Montes day raids, I've done Blue Gate night raids, Blue Gate day raids, Buried City day raids, Dam Cold Snap, Buried City Cold Snap. Getting some more data in there. But so far, the story has been, I've opened 370 containers and found today 19 blueprints, which is quite ridiculous. 19 in a few hours. So obviously, a very large margin of error here, but the blueprint drop rate seems to have increased by about 500%, or 5 times. Now, in-game, that is a massive amount. 5% doesn't seem like much, but it's the difference between spending an entire raid, maybe finding one blueprint if you're lucky, to spending the same raid, more likely to come out with 3 or 4 blueprints. You need to loot 100 containers per average in the past to get a single blueprint. Looting that same number of containers in a single raid will net you about 5 blueprints now, which is really, really great. So it's no longer about how to find blueprints anymore because they spawn a lot more often. It's now instead about where to find blueprints, and more specifically, where to find the blueprints that you care about. The map condition or map or area or container that you're looting can determine the loot pool of the blueprints. What that means is, let's say after the expedition, you're looking specifically for the Anvil blueprint. Well, we can go through all of my data that I've collected and the data that we collected from the community to find out the most likely spawn location. And you can use this Google Sheet to help you be guided in the right direction. I'll go through what all of this information means here, and as always, there'll be a link in the description. All of the data I've ever collected has always been public, so you can check it out for yourself, and if you don't believe it, you can go through it on your own. But yeah, this is the closest we've ever been to figuring out everything we could ever want to know about blueprints. So let's take the Anvil, for example. After the expedition, getting this soon is going to feel pretty nice. Not having an Anvil blueprint is going to be kind of painful early on. So where is the most likely place you can get it? Well, after taking a look through all of my data and the community data, it has popped up most commonly in a certain container type, what I would like to call a Raider container. This includes the Raider cache, weapon box, ammo case, and grenade case. Those kind of containers, right? That is where you're most likely to find the Anvil. Our data also seems to suggest that it could spawn on any map, any condition, and any location. So if you're looking for an Anvil blueprint, that's where to do it. We've done the same for every single blueprint in the game, and I will later add the ones that were added in this latest patch. Essentially, you can use this to get some guidance on where to find the blueprints you're missing or desperately looking for. There's color coding going on here, and the color coding is sort of like a rarity system to understand my confidence in the data that we have. Legendary means 100% confirmed, guaranteed, without a shadow of a doubt. For example, the Aphelion blueprint now drops in Stellar Montes, 100% confirmed without a shadow of a doubt. The Bobcat in the Trials or Locked Gate, which is now back. They've added it back into the game. 100% confirmed without a shadow of a doubt. The Barletta, the Equalizer, the Law Grenade, the Hole Cracker, so on and so forth. All of these drop from quests or specific areas. So legendary, i.e. yellow, means 100% confirmed without a shadow of a doubt. Then we move on to the epic rarity, right? Pink in game, epic rarity stands for pink. That is a very high confidence of this information being accurate. We've got so much data to point it in the right direction. We might be wrong, but it's very unlikely. So when we look at attachments, we can see that the Angled Grip 2 most often drops in residential containers, alongside a lot of the attachments. The Angled Grip 3 most likely drops in residential containers in night raids, right? An important distinction there is that some of the rarer attachments usually have a specific 2x modifier that will boost their drop rate. It doesn't mean it will only drop there. For example, if I go into my specific blueprint data here, I can see Angled Grip 3 I got in a Cold Snap event earlier today. So essentially, this is the most likely place. It doesn't mean it's guaranteed to be there. It can also spawn in other places. We then have the blue, the rare, right? This is I feel pretty confident, but there could also be a decent chance that it's not true. For example, the Barricade Kit. I've had so many reports of it spawning in a server cabinet, the one you have to breach open that usually has processors inside. Well, whilst it can be true, we've also found it elsewhere, so we're not 100% on that one, right? There's still a little bit of doubt there. And then we've got green, which is, there seems to be a bit of a pattern going on, but we don't have enough data to 100% confirm it. So for example, the Blaze Grenade seems to spawn anywhere, and we can't really find a pattern. The Flanking Augment seems to spawn anywhere, and we can't find any pattern. Weirdly enough, whilst we do have a lot of confidence that the Combat Mark III Aggressive, the Survivor Augment, and most augments spawn more often in the Security Wing and Blue Gate, the Combat Flanking Augment, we don't have that data. So we simply have to give it a green tag for uncommon in terms of we don't have much confidence on where it spawns, right? Defib is another one. There seems to be a lot of proof online that it spawns in medical containers or medical loot zones. I personally have found them there. Many people have submitted data into the form, also have, but we don't have enough data there yet. But it's a good idea to go check it out. If you're running by it, you might get lucky like a lot of other players. So that is the list of all of the blueprints in the game, where you're most likely to find them, so that you can be pointed in the right direction, especially once you've done the expedition, so you know where and what to look for. There'll be a link in the description, and as we find out more, this will be updated as time goes on. There's been a lot of people that have kind of criticized my blueprint data videos because they believe that every time I make a new video, I made a mistake, and last time I was wrong, and blah, blah, blah. It's not like that. It's just that every time we make a new video, we have more and more information to pinpoint exactly what is going on. Each video in this series is not disproving things in the previous video, it's adding on to the story. And this video today, and this document today, is the most amount of information I'm just putting out there into the world for you all to take advantage of. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. I've put the data out there. I've put the hundreds of hours at this point of figuring it out, going through it all. It's up to you whether or not you use that for your advantage or not. But there, it's there. I'm using it personally, and it's been absolutely monumental. And having this information has made me feel very happy to do the expedition without worrying about my blueprints anymore. So the link for that will be in the description.